Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Kayla Nicole 999, and excuse me, I am kind of a hot mess. I have just been a hot mess lately because my life is a fucking mess. I haven't been making a lot of content. I'm trying to fix that. If my voice sounds scratchy or you hear me clearing my throat, it's because I just literally woke up maybe like an hour ago. Been working some late nights lately. Life is just, dude, being an adult sucks. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, that is not the topic of today's video. The topic of today's video is a woman's right to protect herself against a sexual predator in the state of Colorado. I do plan on making a video later when I have some more time about self-defense laws against sexual predators in all 50 states, but that is going to take some time because I do have to research that. And really, I just don't have time to research right now. I'm sorry. So I'm sticking with my home state of Colorado because I know the self-defense laws out here. For those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Kayla Nicole 999. I am an OnlyFans girl. I'm also on PH, for those of you that are familiar with the site. I work on some cam sites. If you're familiar with what those are, I am a former exotic dancer. Maybe going back to that. I am a rideshare driver, but I am also a abuse and rape survivor, multiple time abuse and rape survivor. So a lot of my videos are focused on narcissistic abuse. I've talked about consent. I have talked about rape. I talk about a lot of really sensitive topics on my channel. I call out misogynistic men. I stand up to them. I speak out against racism. There's a lot that goes into who makes me who I am, and I am not just an adult content creator. I'm trying to use words that are YouTube approved because I'm not trying to get my video flagged. However, if you do have a problem with the fact that I am an adult content creator, I would highly suggest that you put that aside, at least just for this video, if you live in Colorado, because I do have some really important information for ladies in Colorado on this video. If you can't do that, I understand. Just exit out of my video. Like, I don't know what else to say. Anyway, moving forward, I don't know if those of you that live in Colorado have heard, but there is a sexual predator who has been approaching lone women on hiking trails in a part of Colorado. So I do have the news article up. I'm just going to go ahead and read this for you. This was posted at 10:35 a.m. on July 28th, 2023. And it says, a Colorado Sheriff's Office issued a warning Wednesday about a sexual predator targeting female hikers in the Conifer and Evergreen areas. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office said a male suspect is confronting lone female hikers along trails in Flying J Ranch Park. And there has been one incident at Elderfer Three Sisters Park. I don't know if I'm saying Elderfer right. I'm not familiar with that park. 7 reports have been taken so far. The Sheriff's Office said the first report incident occurred on April 3rd. Investigators said the male suspect was naked and sexually assaulted a woman hiking in the area in the April 3rd incident. The Sheriff's Office said the encounters are becoming increasingly aggressive. The man assaulted 3 victims in one day on July 18th. On Monday, the man confronted a female hiker while masturbating and then grabbed the victim and tried to rip off her clothing, according to the Sheriff's Office. The suspect is described as a white male, 20 to 30 years old, with a fit athletic build and dark colored hair. He has carried a dark color backpack in some cases. In each incident, The suspect ran off into the woods, avoiding capture. The sheriff's office is seeking input from the public to help identify the suspect as well as identify other potential victims. They list the number to call if you have any additional information. I am going to link this article in the details of this video, so you're gonna have all of this information. And then it says, we know that when you're hiking, sometimes it's just the time that you zone out. You enjoy the sky, the wind, the trees, the birds, and all of that. But we need people to be more cautious and more aware, said Jackie Kelly with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Authorities provided the following safety tips. Hike with a friend or a family member. Don't walk off trail. Take a phone with you. Be aware of those around you. That one is very important. And report anything suspicious immediately. Okay, those are all great tips. But what happens if you are actually attacked? What are your rights if you are actually attacked by a sexual predator in Colorado? Let's get into that. Okay, sorry. So I do not edit any of my videos at this moment, just so you all know. So it's just taken me a minute. I do not have the ability to use Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what my preferred choice to edit my videos. I do have an editing app on my phone, but it doesn't usually edit long videos. It never saves them properly. So bear with me. You know, I would prefer to cut and slice some of these scenes together, but it's just not an option right now. Okay, so did you know that it is lawful to use lethal force to defend yourself against an assailant committing sexual assault in Colorado? I didn't know that until just recently, actually, and I am a multiple-time rape survivor. Many times I just laid there and I just took it because I was too tired to fight back. I didn't know if I would get in trouble if I fought back. As a juvenile, I grew up with a very abusive, narcissistic mother. And the first time I went to juvenile hall, she had me pinned up against a car. I was trying to run away from her. And she had me pinned up against the car, and I fought to free myself. I ended up being taken to juvenile hall for assault that night. So now as an adult, I don't always fight, but I should have been fighting more. Especially against my rapists. I also haven't reported my rapists because the first time I tried to report one, I didn't clearly remember what happened. I had way too much to drink. It was my 21st birthday. And as I was sitting there getting the rape kit done at the hospital and talking to the police looked at me and said, Kayla, if you are lying about this, we are going to press charges against you. That was it. I was done. I dropped charges and I just walked out. I still, to this day, don't remember exactly what happened that night. I just know something wasn't right. I know that that boy had kissed me before when I was too drunk to remember it, and I don't remember giving permission. I shouldn't have went out with him again. I shouldn't, but I was young. I was young and I was fucking naive. I wish I could say that's the only time I've been sexually assaulted, but it's not. I have been sexually assaulted many times. The first of which may have occurred when I was a young child, but I'm too young to remember it. I'll tell that story in another day. I'll tell the other stories in another day. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about When is self-defense justified in Colorado? And again, I'm going to put the link. This is one of the law sites. I'm using the same law site for the both of the topics I'm going to reference here. So I'm going to put the links in the description of this video. So it says, when is self-defense justified in Colorado? Self-defense is a legal defense against criminal accusation. It quietly admits that you committed the crime. However, it argues that you did it in order to defend yourself from harm. That's the important part. Yes, you did technically assault somebody, but you did it to defend yourself. If successful, self-defense justifies a crime. It means that you were only acting out of self-preservation. A successful self-defense argument means you are not liable for the crime. Keep in mind, that does not mean that you will not be arrested. Okay? At first, you may be arrested. You may be taken and held in custody. You need to be aware of that. You need to be aware of that. So I don't recommend using self-defense unless absolutely necessary. Just something to consider. Proving a self-defense case under state law involves showing you reasonably believe that you were about to suffer imminent and unlawful force. You reasonably believed that imminent force was required to protect yourself, and you used a degree of force that you reasonably believed would be necessary to prevent it. In some cases, use of deadly force can be required for your self-defense. Not all. Not all. So it really, and that's where it gets really tricky, right? Because when you're being attacked, you're acting either in fight or flight. Do you really have the time to actually think? You know? You got to be cautious with this. I am not saying just do, you know, I'm saying do whatever you feel is necessary to defend yourself in a situation. That's what I'm saying. I'm not there. I'm not seeing what's happening. You know, you're the one in danger. You are the one fighting your way out of a situation to survive. People defending themselves in Colorado rarely have to retreat before using force. Instead, they are generally allowed to stand their ground. This is even true if they use lethal force in defense. However, not all cases of self-defense are justified. Self-defense is not a legal defense if you were the aggressor. That means if you start a fight with somebody, whether it be verbal or whatever, self-defense isn't justified, okay? If someone pisses you off in a parking lot and you get out of your car and you start screaming at them, well, technically you're going to be seen as the aggressor. So you need to keep that in mind. Deadly force is also not an option if you were defending your property, but not yourself. So if you go outside and you see someone attempting to steal your car, or, sorry, if your car is parked out on the street, maybe even if your car is parked in the driveway, I'm not sure on that. But if they're just attempting to steal your car, lethal force is not justified because they are not attacking you. They are stealing your property. And that's something that we all really need to understand. Now, there is what we call the Make My Day law in Colorado, and that's a whole different topic, and we're not even talking about that right now. Do not get this confused with the Make My Day law, please. And it says the only exception to that is if you were trying to prevent an arson. So, I mean, if someone's trying to set your car on fire, okay, then lethal force may be justified, but don't quote me on that because I really don't know. I'm not the judge, I'm not the jury. I don't know. I am just reading what it says on this website, on this law website. Now it goes on to how much force can you use. And by the way, the website, if you want to follow along, it's shouslaw.com, SHOUSELAW.com. And the website that I got the information about the sexual predator from, that is ktvh.com. So that's one of the news channels out here. Forgot to mention that. Okay. So you can only use as much force as you reasonably believe is necessary to protect yourself. In many criminal law cases, this means only using as much force as you are being threatened with. However, the degree of force that is justified depends on the situation. Example, Paul punches George. George takes out a gun and shoots Paul. George may have used too much force for a self-defense argument. The punch did not cause serious bodily injury, and there was no reasonableness to justify using a gun. Now I'm going to stop myself before I go off on a tangent, because that does not pertain to what I am talking about here, and I have ADHD, and I go off on tangents often. Anyway, moving on. Because I'm a former criminal justice major. No, I did not complete my degree, and no, I have not worked in the field. But I have more knowledge than just the average person. At least a little bit more knowledge, okay? I'm not going to go into why I didn't complete my degree. There's a whole story to go along with that, and I think I've told that in another video, and maybe I'll just tell that story by itself one day. I don't know. We'll see. Now let's talk about when is deadly force available. And remember, this is all pertaining to Colorado law. Do not use this advice in any other state other than Colorado. Deadly force can be used in, Deadly force can be used in some circumstances for self-defense. You have to reasonably believe that you are in imminent danger of being killed or sustaining great bodily injury. The assailant is committing a burglary. I cannot talk sometimes, the words form in my mind and then they don't come out properly in my mouth. But anyway, you got what I'm saying. And is about to use physical force against the occupant. Or the assailant is committing kidnapping, robbery, or sexual assault. Did any of you ladies know that in Colorado, it is lawful to use deadly force, or lethal force, if you were being sexually assaulted? Now, when does that come into play? Well, if a man approaches you with his member in his hand, but does not touch you, using deadly force, I don't know that they're going to justify that because he didn't touch you. So this is when, although it's a very scary situation, you need to be able to think before you make a move. Personally, I wouldn't advise using lethal force until absolutely necessary. So even if he tries to grab you, but you're able to swing, elbow him, push him, punch him, whatever, and get him off and run away, probably not advisable to go straight to lethal force in that circumstance. But if he continues to chase you and he grabs you again and he pushes you down to the ground, well, then the circumstances change, right? Again, I'm not giving legal advice, not giving legal advice at all. I am not a lawyer. I am just talking about what is allowed in the state of Colorado. I probably should have put that at the beginning of this video, that this is not intended to be legal advice, and now I can't really go back and do that. But anyway, let's make that clear. This is not intended to be legal advice. I'll just put that in the title or somewhere up there. Okay, then it goes on to say that your ability to use deadly force is at its peak if you are in your home. This is Colorado's Make My Day law, and that is the law that we are not going to go into right now because that is not the topic of this video. It's at its weakest if you are only defending your property, not your person. And then it goes on to say you can find out more information on the differences between a felony and a misdemeanor here. We're not going to talk about that because, again, I'm really not giving you legal advice. I'm just telling you what you have the right to do in Colorado if you are being sexually assaulted, according to this law website, not according to me. According to the law, okay? All right, so now you know that it is lawful to use deadly force or lethal force in Colorado to defend yourself against sexual assault. Something I hope you never, ever have to use. I truly, truly, truly hope you never have any need for this advice. But I think it's something that everyone should know and understand. Because oftentimes, I did not fight back against my rapist because I thought I would get in trouble. Oh, my stomach is totally growling at me. Now, what can you do to protect yourself in Colorado? What can you carry on your person concealed in Colorado legally? That depends. Do you have a concealed carry permit? Yeah. Okay, well then you can carry in most places. There are places that do not allow concealed carry even if you have a permit. That's something you need to think about. But what can you do if you do not have a concealed carry permit? Is there anything you can legally carry concealed on your person to defend yourself from harm if needed? In Colorado, yes, there is. And it is a blade. But you have to know what type of blade. You have to know what size of blade. Okay? So basically, in Colorado, you are allowed to conceal carry any non-ballistic blade that is under 3.5 inches without a permit. A ballistic blade is a blade that is actually detachable and that can be ejected from a distance. So, I mean, you could basically just launch it at a person. I mean, it's almost like shooting a person, kind of, but with a knife, which sounds terrible when you talk about it like that. But anyway, I do not have an example of a ballistic blade, but I am just letting you know that it is not lawful to, I don't even know if it's lawful to conceal carry. Okay, no, so it's not even lawful to carry a ballistic knife in Colorado. So it literally says here, in Colorado, you may openly carry legal knives, but you cannot conceal carry knives unless their blade is shorter than 3.5 inches or hunting and fishing knives. So that means if you're on a hiking trail by yourself, you can carry a blade that is bigger than 3.5 inches. You just can't conceal it. But you can have that right there on your hip in open plain view. And honestly, if a sexual predator were to approach you and see a big ass fucking blade on your hip, do you think he's really gonna come near you? Hopefully he would be smart enough to just turn and run the other fucking way, right? Ballistic knives are illegal to carry in Colorado, but switchblades are legal to carry, except in certain cities like Denver. And all knives are banned from school property, it says on this website, which, okay. Anyway. So the statute 18-12-01C.R.S defines knives as any dagger, dirk, knife, stiletto with a blade over 3 1/2 inches in length, or any other dangerous instrument capable of inflicting cutting, stabbing, tearing wounds, but does not include a hunting or fishing knife carried for sport use. All right. So, what does that mean? Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to understand, right? You can carry a blade that is over 3.5 inches, providing it's not a ballistic blade, as long as you open carry it, meaning anybody who approaches you can see that you are carrying that knife. It must be out in the open in clear view. But if you don't want people to know that you are carrying a blade, then make sure it's not a ballistic blade and make sure it is under 3.5 inches. Pretty simple. So let me show you my best friend. So, have you noticed anything as I'm sitting here? I mean, if you got close enough because my shirt is so tight, you could probably see the outline. There's an outline right there. But anyway, I got this nifty little dagger. It was given to me, so I actually don't know where you could get it, but you could probably get it online very easily. It's a 2-inch dagger. It is a 2-inch dagger. It is legal to carry concealed. It has this lovely carrying case that it slips right in. It also has, it's hard to see in the video, but it has this clip and it literally clips right on to your waistband. Being an abuse and rape survivor, I take this baby with me pretty much everywhere I go. As in, I really don't leave home without it. So, ladies, especially right now with a sexual predator on the loose around hiking trails, I highly, highly suggest if you are going to hike alone in Colorado, you go and pick up a blade. Whether you open carry or whether you get one that is legal to conceal carry, that is up to you. I am not making any recommendations. You do what's best for you, boo. And on that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video. Again, I will link all of my resources in the description of this video. Once again, this video is not intended to be legal advice. I am just simply reading you what the law states in Colorado. I cannot give legal advice. I am not an attorney. If you need legal advice, if you actually need legal advice, please, please, please contact an attorney, not me, because I legally cannot give you advice. But stay safe out there, ladies, and hopefully you never have any use for the advice. Not advice, no, let me rephrase that. Hopefully you have no use for these laws in Colorado, okay? Have a great day.